it was hard to look at one another. So we pretended nothing had happened. When something had, it was like I began to support my father. And why that should have made me feel so happy, I don't know. But it did. And so to cheer him up, I began to talk. I said I'd be going to college in no more than a year, at most 2. And then I'd strain out my mind and become an A student. And then I'd not only get a job in a newspaper, but I'd have my own column, no less. By the time we got to 42nd Street, it was like the Depression was practically over. And, in a funny way, it was, in here. Even though I knew we had a long bad time ahead of us. And so, like most people, I waited with that crazy kind of expectation that comes when there is no hope. Waited for the dream to return from wherever it had gone to hide. After a lot of jobs and savings, I did get to the university. And it was a quiet island in the street. 2 pairs of socks, plus a shirt, plus a good shirt, and a mackinac, and maybe a part-time job in the library, and you could live like a king and never see cash. So there was a distinct reluctance to graduate into the world out there, where you knew nobody wanted you. How scary and beautiful the Mississippi is. How do they manage to live? Every town has a bank boarded up. And all those skinny men sitting on the sidewalks with their backs against the storefronts. It's all stopped, like a magic spell. And the anger, when they were passing out meat and beans to the hungry, and the maggots wriggling out of the beef, and that man putting his rifle at the butcher, demanding the fresh meat that the government had paid him to hand out. How could this have happened? Is Marx right? The paper says 12 executives in tobacco made more than 30,000 farmers who raised it. How long can they accept this? The anger has a smell. It hangs in the air wherever people gather. Fights suddenly break out and simmer down. Is this when revolution comes? And why not? How would Mark Twain write what I have seen? Armed deputies guarding cornfields, and whole families sitting beside the road, staring at the food which nobody can buy and is rotting on the stalk. It's insane.
But how can he become a sports writer?
A word, I pray you.
2 truths are told as happy prologues to the swelling act of the imperial theme. Aye, thank you, gentlemen. This supernatural soliciting cannot be ill, cannot be good. If ill, why hath it given me earnest of success commencing no truth? I know I am fain of calling. If good, why do I yield to that suggestion whose horrid image doth fix my hair and make my seated heart knock at my ribs against the use of nature? Present fears are less than horrible imaginings. My thought, whose murder yet is but fantastical, shakes so my single state of man that function is smothered and surmising nothing is but what is not.
Look how our partner's wrapped.
If chance will crown me, then why chance may crown me without my stir?
New honors come upon him, like our strange garments, clean not to their mold, but in the aid of use.
Come what come may. time and the hour runs through the roughest day.
Worthy Macbeth, we stay upon your will.
If 'twere done when 'tis done, then 'twere well 'twere done quickly.
If the assassination could trammel up the consequence and catch with his surcease success, but this might be the be-all and end-all. But here upon this vacant shawl of time, we jump the like to come. But in these cases, we still have judgment here, that we but teach bloody instructions, which being taught return to plague the inventor. This even-handed justice commends our poisoned chalice to our own lips. He's here in double trust. First, as I'm his kinsman and his subject, strong both against the deed. Then, as his host, who should against his murderer shut the door, not bear the knife myself. Besides, this Duncan hath borne his faculties so meek, hath been so clear in his great office, that his virtues will plead like angels, trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off. And pity like a naked newborn babe shall blow the horrid deed in every eye, that tears shall drown the wind.
I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition, which o'erleaps itself and falls on the other.
Is this a dagger which I see before me? The handle toward my hand? Come, let me touch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision, sensible as feelings to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation proceeding from the heat-oppressed brain? I see thee yet, in form as palpable as now which I draw. Thou marshalst me the way that I was going, and such an instrument I was to use. Oh, mine eyes have made that cruelty of the other senses, or else worth all the rest. I see thee yet, and on the glade dungeon gouts of blood which was not so before. There is no such thing. It is the bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. Now over the one-half world, nature seems dead. Wicked dreams abuse the curtained sleep. Withered murder, alarmed by this sentinel the wolf, whose howls is watched, and thus with a stealthy pace moves like a ghost. Sure and firm set earth, hear not my steps for which way they walk, for fear thy very stones pray to my whereabout. For whilst I threat he lives, words to the heat of deed too cold breath gives. I go and it is done. The bell invites me.
Hear it not, Duncan, for it is an hour that summons thee to heaven or to hell.
to be thus is nothing but to be safely thus. Our fears in Banquo stick deep. In her royalty she hath the nature that which would be feared. 'Tis much she dares, and to that dauntless temper of her mind, she hath a valor, or she hath the wisdom that doth guide her valor to act in safety. There's none but she whose being I do fear, and under her my genius is rebuked. She chid the sisters when they first came and put the name of king upon me, then bade them speak to her, then, prophet-like, hailed her mother to a line of kings, the seeds of Banquo kings. Upon my head, they placed a fruitless crown, a barren scepter in my grip, thence to be wrenched with an unlineal hand, no son of mine succeeding. For Banquo's issue have I fouled my mind. For them the gracious Duncan have I murdered, pruned rakers in the vessel of my peace. For them in mine eternal jewel, to the common enemy of man, to make them kings, the seeds of Banquo kings. Rather than so, come fate into the list, champion me to the utterance. Who's there? I have almost forgot the taste of fears. The time has been there. My senses would have cooled to hear a night's shriek. And now my fell of hair stands on end at a dismal treatise, would rouse the stir as life were in it. Now I am supped full of horrors. Direness familiar to my slaughterous thoughts. Cannot one start me?
My lord is dead.
She should have died hereafter. There would have been a time and place for such a thing. Tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player who struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It's a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Gracious my lord, I shall report that which I say I saw, but do not know how to do it.
Well, say, sir.
As I stood my watch upon the hill, I looked toward Burnham, and anon methought the wood began to move.
Liar and slayer!
Let me endure your wrath if it not be so. Within this 3 mile may you see it coming. I say, a moving crow.
If thou speakest false, upon the next tree shalt thou hang alive. If thou speakest sooth, I care not if thou doth for me as much. I begin to doubt the equivocation of the fiend that lies like truth. Fear not till Burnham Wood come to Dunsinane. And now Burnham Wood come to Dunsinane! Arm and out! If this which ye avouches does appear, there's no flying hence nor tarrying here. I begin to wish the whole state of the world were now undone.